So today's learning outcomes, we will be covering the root of all fear. Where does fear come from? What is the ultimate root? Healthy fear versus destructive fear, right sizing the fear, mantra and mind control, overcoming fear with faith, and Bhagavad Gita specifically, the words of Gita, words of Krishna, and a step-by-step guide into boosting confidence and really having confidence in Krishna, who's within you. And then we'll end with Q&A. If you have burning questions, you can feel free to write them in the chat section as we go through this. And I will pause once in a while and try to answer them, but most of them will be answered at the very end. I see somebody's writing in the chat already. Calmness in your voice. Thank you very much. So we'll start with a story. Not a story, actually, it's our history from Satya Yuga, almost 3 million years ago, where the first child abuse case recorded in history happened. And that is, you see that little child is Prahlad Maharaj. And his father is a very demoniac king named Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu did thousands of years of tapasya and met Lord Brahma face to face. And he wanted to be immortal. Lord Brahma said, hey, I'm not immortal myself. Only God, Krishna or Vishnu is immortal. I'm not immortal. So I cannot give you what I don't have. Hiranyakashipu said, very well. Then bless me that I cannot be killed by humans or animals. I cannot be killed by any weapon. I cannot be killed during the day or night. And like that, he gave a bunch of conditions. And Hiranyakashipu thought he was very intelligent. He indirectly got the blessing to be immortal. And because of his such blessing Lord Brahma gave him, he conquered pretty much everything. In the heavenly realms, he was, Indra was scared of him, Sun was scared of him, all these great demigods were scared of him. But his own child, Prahlad, was not scared. Why? Because when Prahlad's mother was pregnant with him, Narad Muni, while Hiranyakashipu was doing tapasya, remember, for thousands of years, at that time, Hiranyakashipu's wife was in a hermitage where Narad Muni actually spoke to her about Krishna consciousness, about Bhagavad Tattva, spirituality. And Prahlad in the womb heard all of that. And he was transformed. He was spiritualized by that process. So when he grew up as a boy, he was in school and he was telling others, so he went to school with all the demon kids, right? These are the asuras. And he was preaching to them about Vishnu and Krishna and how he's the supreme personality of Godhead. And everybody was like, wow, that's amazing. And they were getting transformed. And Hiranyakashipu had an issue with that. He's like, hey, I am the supreme. You cannot talk about that Vishnu. I am the supreme. How dare you talk about somebody else? So he told his ministers, Hiranyakashipu told his ministers that, hey, teach my son economics, politics, and all these things. How is he talking about spirituality? Are you guys teaching him philosophy? They're like, we're not teaching anybody philosophy. Why is he talking about this Vedic stuff? And eventually, his father got frustrated and decided that his son should be killed. So he told his army that, hey, kill my son. So they tried various means to kill Prahlad. They tried to kill him with weapons. Prahlad was always thinking of Lord Vishnu. They threw him from a mountain. And if you see, Prahlad is, as he's falling, he's fearless. And at the bottom, there is Lord Vishnu, ready to catch him. But at the bottom, by the way, he had to fall all the way, right? We also go through difficult situations. At the end, there is maybe a good result, but we have to go through certain situations sometimes in life. And that's the reality. That's where fear comes in. We don't know what's going to happen. Is Vishnu really at the bottom? Is he going to catch us or not, right? That's the fear part. And he was put in a pit of snakes. He was put in fire. That's why we do, before Holi, we do Holika Dahan, right? That's what. So Hiranyakashipu's sister, she had the blessing that she couldn't be burnt by fire. She took Prahlad into the fire. Prahlad was not burnt, but Hiranyakashipu's sister got completely burned and died, right? So there was no way this Hiranyakashipu was able to kill his own son. And it's like, hey, it's a matter of reputation. All these demigods who are so powerful, Chandra, Surya, Varuna, Indra, they are scared of me, but my 5-year-old child is not scared of me. And one day he sat down with Prahlad. He said, hey, Prahlad, where do you get all this fearlessness from? Where do you get this confidence, this strength from? And Prahlad said, my dear father, O best of the demons, Asurya Varga, O best of the demons, you and my strength come from the same source, Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. And Hiranyakashipu was like super upset. It's like, how dare you talk about that person, right? And he said, where is your Vishnu? I want to see him. And Prahlad said, he's everywhere. He's like, he's in this pillar? It's like, yes, he's in this pillar. And Hiranyakashipu kicked the pillar and came out this half man, half lion form of God named Nrsimhadev, right? And Nrsimhadev was angry. I mean, this is Krishna on the left side, right? Playing the flute with his girlfriend, with the gopis, with the peacocks. He's happy. He's always chilled, even when he's killing demons. But when his devotees are attacked, Krishna becomes furious. And this is Krishna's anger personified. This is Nrsimhadev, half lion, right? The blessing was he cannot be killed by a human or animal. So here was half lion, half human. He was not to be killed by weapons. So it was nails with which Hiranyakashipu ripped, or Nrsimhadev ripped Hiranyakashipu open, right? And pulled out his intestine. A very, very gory scene. But the point is, you see little Prahlad completely fearless, standing next to Nrsimhadev with a garland, right? Like, my lord, you came to save me. So that's Krishna. Krishna can be this, Krishna can be that also. And the fearless part of the devotee is that faith in Krishna. Right? That's the theme of today's masterclass. And we're going to go through various philosophies, but starting with the first thing, the root of fear. The root of fear comes from ignorance. When you don't know, lack of knowledge. Ignorance means lack of knowledge. When you don't know something, that's when fear comes in. You don't know what's going to come in your exam. You get fearful. You don't know who you're going to get married to. Marriage seems to be a fear. You don't know what kind of a boss you'll get or if you can perform in your job. That's a fear. So always there in life, there are these, lack of knowledge that leads to fear. Some people are wanting to start a startup, but it's like, I want to be independent financially. I don't want to have a boss, but it's scary. I don't know if I can succeed in a startup. 90% of startups fail. I don't know how to build a startup. It's scary. I don't know if I should be fulfilling my dream, if I should be going bungee jumping, if I should be going this and that. There's always that fear. And if you look at it, fear comes from lack of knowledge or ignorance. And the biggest lack of knowledge, in today's world, everything is a Google search away. But the biggest lack of knowledge is our knowledge of who we are and who God is and how we are connected to God, right? So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, many of us worship the Bhagavad Gita, but it is meant to be read. And if you read it, Krishna says in chapter 14, text 4, Aham bija pradapitaha. I am the seed-giving father, right? So from Krishna, he's giving seed to all species. He's the father of all living entities. The squirrel, the human, the tree, the ants. He's the father of all living entities. That's the relationship we have with God. It is our inheritance that we have received: sunlight, moonlight, rain. We don't pay for it. Recently, there was oxygen crisis due to Corona. I donated 20,000 liters of oxygen, and there's amounts of money that people are having to pay. And somebody did a calculation that throughout one's life, the amount of oxygen one breathes, it's worth around 5 crores or something, right? If you really take it as how much oxygen, clinical oxygen is worth. And we don't pay for it. We have it as inheritance, being the child of God. Krishna has given it to us. right? Sunlight, moonlight. Imagine without sunlight, how we would survive even for a month, right? Antarctica, 6 months they don't have sunlight. It's almost uninhabitable. Then Krishna says, "Oh, son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Kaunteya pratijani." Right? He's telling, because Krishna has a bad reputation. People know Krishna to be a liar. He steals butter. He lies sometimes. So Krishna doesn't have a good reputation. So he's telling Arjun, Arjun, you declare boldly that my devotees shall never be vanquished. Why? Because he can break his own promise, which he does, but he will never break the promise made by his devotee. So we don't know this knowledge, right? So I'll share. So this is from Mahabharata, from the Battle of Kurukshetra. Krishna said, I will not pick up any weapon. I will not fight this war. But when Arjun was being showered by arrows by Pitamaha Bhishma, Krishna actually took up a weapon and he raged at Bhishma Dev that I'm going to kill you. And if you see Bhishma Dev, he surrendered. He's like, this is the perfection of my life. If I die in your hands, my dear Krishna, my life is perfect. Please, I've been waiting for this. And Arjun holds on to Krishna. It's like, no. Krishna, please. What will people say? What will history say that you broke your promise? But Krishna does break his promise 3 times in the Kurukshetra battle, where to protect his devotee, he is willing to break his own promise, not caring about his reputation. And that is the nature of God, named as Bhakta Vatsal, that one who is his devotee, one who invites Krishna into his life or her life. For such a person, Krishna will go to any extent to protect them, right? When Draupadi was in that terrible situation, her husbands couldn't protect her. Although they were the most powerful men in the world at that time, they couldn't protect her. No one in that Kuru Sabha spoke a single word to protect Draupadi. And she said, Govinda, help. And immediately Govinda was there with sari, unlimited supply of sari, to the point that Dushasana, who was pulling the sari of Draupadi, who had the strength of 100 elephants, couldn't pull anymore. He was tired of pulling sari. Unlimited sari was provided by Krishna. Draupadi was protected by Krishna. So our ultimate protector is Krishna, but for those who surrender to Krishna, those who invite Krishna into their lives, he does not interfere with those who don't want him. He does not interfere. There's a process of karma. You do good things happen. Bad things happen. Give in charity, get rich, save lives, you'll save your life, etc., etc. So there's an automated process of karma that is applicable to everyone. But for those who take shelter of Krishna, Krishna personally takes care of them, regardless of karma. He can burn karma, no problem. Krishna personally comes, right? So he says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Aham sarvasya prabhaha, matta sarva pravartate. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Iti matva bhajante, worship, bhajante mam, buddha bhava samanitam. Those who are wise, buddha bhava, right? Like Buddha bhava. So those who are intelligent, who understand this knowledge. So we're talking about ignorance leads to fear. But those who have the knowledge, they're fearless, abhay or abhay charan, right? They're fearless at the lotus feet of Krishna because they know Krishna is there for them. They've invited Krishna in their lives. And at the very end, the last instruction by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vaja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami masachaha. Many of you are from South India. So Tirupati is actually the way Tirupati Balaji is postured. He actually is referring to this verse. He's with one hand, he's showing surrender unto me. And with another hand, he's showing Masuchaha. Don't worry. Do not fear. I will take care of everything. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. So Krishna talks about Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, all kinds of things is talked about, right? In Bhagavad Gita, everything is covered. And then at the end, he says, forget all this. Just surrender unto me. I will take care of you. Do not fear. So that's the whole idea. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's, when I say do not fear, it doesn't matter because I don't have muscles to protect you. I don't have anything to protect you. But when Krishna says, Krishna is the most powerful, the most intelligent, the most wealthy, the most beautiful, the supreme personality of Godhead, right? When he says do not fear, he means it and he keeps his word for devotees, right? So that's the Bhagavad Gita. So now we're going to dig deeper about the anatomy of fear. And Krishna encourages us also in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Okay, there is all these things, but okay, what if you're not able to surrender? What if you're not able to be, go deep dive? Krishna says, in this endeavor, chapter 2, text 40, there is no loss or diminution. No loss, even little bit, like all of you are here. For many of you, it might be the first time you're learning about Bhagavad Gita. Might be, right? So even after today, you never do anything in this lifetime, anything to do with spiritual, which is highly unlikely. I'm sure that's not the case. But let's say that was the case. Still no loss or diminution, even little advancement. Swalpam api asya hi dharmasya trayato mahate bhayat. Even a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. And that most dangerous type of fear is what happens after death. Right? When you're dying, I don't know any of you had near-death experience. I have had. And the most fearful thing is, oh my God, I'm shutting down. I'm going to die. What's next? Am I going to stop existing? Am I going some other place? I'm not going to be with my near and dear ones. I'm going to be away from my shelter, my home. What's happening? It's a terrible, terrible feeling at the time of death. But Krishna is saying that for one who has taken even the slightest progress in this direction, that fear goes away because he's indicating he will take care of us at that time. He'll not forget that you'll made some progress, right? So swalpam apiyasya dharmasya trayato mahate bharat, that any little advancement in this spiritual path and the most dangerous type of fear one can be protected from. So there are two kinds of fear. There's healthy fear and unhealthy fear. Let's talk about that for a second. So healthy fear is what? A tiger. You should be away from a tiger or a lion. Many people are like, oh, I'm fearless. They jump into the tiger or lion's cage in the zoo and then get eaten up, right? But and it's healthy to have that kind of fear. Fear of envious people. You should be away from negative people, envious people, people who mean harm to you, right? Stay away from them. Be fearful of hooligans, people who are criminals. Sure, healthy fear. When you're driving, you should be fearful of accident or killing someone. So those are healthy fear, things that make you cautious in life. Unhealthy fear that stops you from doing things, that paralyzes you in life, stops you from fulfilling your dreams, right? Fear of, I want to do this, but oh my God, what if I fail? So those are the things that keep you in limbo. They keep you in status quo, and you don't get to achieve what you want to achieve in life. And at the time of death, all you have is regrets. Your old age is filled with regrets. That's a horrible, horrible feeling to have. So healthy fear protects you, cautious. Unhealthy fear can lead to panic attack also, anxiousness, anxiety, all kinds of problems. So there's healthy fear and unhealthy fear. So we'll not talk much about the healthy fear because that's good to have. But with the unhealthy fear that stops us from progressing in life, let's understand some things about it. We suffer more in imagination than reality. Remember that, right? Thinking about, oh my God, what's going to happen is actually more scary than the reality. It is said that people who try to commit suicide by jumping from a tall high-rise building, apparently they die before they even hit the ground because they die from heart attack. Oh, how much pain it's going to be, Of course, it's a terrible situation. But the point is, the fear of it actually kills the person before even the person can hit the ground. Similarly, a lot of times, I was at a university where I've visited many times as a guest faculty, and there's a professor who's around 55 years old, and he keeps telling me, because I speak about entrepreneurship and marketing with Bhagavad Gita embedded into it. So he says, Avelo, every time I look at you, I think I should start my business. And I'm like, why haven't you? It's like, I've been thinking since the last 20 years. I'm like, okay, next time I come, I want to hear you made progress. And I give him the whole blueprint. And every time he's like, no, not yet. I don't know. I am married. I have kids. What if I fail? What if, what if? And he has many examples. Another guy, he's a CEO. He wants to join politics. That's his dream. And I tell him, go out there. You have good intentions. We need people like you in politics. And again, he's a CEO of a very big company with 500 employees and everything. And he keeps on dreaming, how much he can do as a politician, and he doesn't do it. It's unexplainable, but people have the lethargy because there's a fear of unknown. I have been good in this life. What if that is not so successful? Where will my legacy be? But the regret that one will have at the end of their life is really terrible. Like, I wish I did when I could do it. Right? So the suffering is more in imagination than reality. And those who have gone through that hardship know this, including myself. So generally speaking, this is what happens. The fear that you have, there's a worst case scenario, there's a worst that can happen, there's a best case scenario, right? And likely, statistically speaking, none of those two will happen. You'll be somewhere in the middle. 66% chance statistically, and if you talk at the bell curve, right, the worst case scenario is an outlier, the best case scenario is an outlier. 66% probability you will end up somewhere in the middle, which is not too bad. Think about some of the exams you've gone through. You were not prepared at all, but it went pretty well, much better than you expected. I'm sure there have been examples in your life, right? So first of all, when your brain gets overwhelmed by what if, oh my God, this, that, anxiety, fear, focus on what we can control rather than what we cannot control, right? That thereby you reduce 50% of your anxiety, because there are some things you cannot control, right? Recently, I'll just give a real example. We got a tax refund, and some parts of the tax refund were a little questionable, that we could not have gotten it, and that would have been several lakhs. And we were like, okay, what if? But we were like, it's not in our control. So I called the tax commissioner, spoke to him, here is what it is, and eventually, thankfully, the best case scenario happened. But the worst case was we would lose a few lakhs, and that's what it would be. But the point is, what we could control, what I could control, was talk to the authorities and just do the best one can do, and that's it, right? And hope for the best. No point worrying and thinking, oh, what if? Now I'm going to break this down further, right? The process of overcoming fear. So I would appreciate if we can all do this exercise together. I'm sure everybody has some fear. First of all, before I do this exercise, if you feel comfortable, in the chat section, in 1 or 2 words, write down what you're fearful of. If you feel comfortable. If it's too personal, you can actually type in anonymously also. In Zoom, you can type anonymously. Financial loss. Yeah, those are healthy, list of, not healthy fear, but healthy list of fears. Okay. So now that you know what you're fearful of, Anita, I already introduced myself. I will talk a little bit. I'll talk about one of my fearful situations. Fear of losing, dark nights, soul, a person. Okay. So now that you know what you're fearful of, write down what is the worst that can happen, right? And then, is there a way to prevent or reduce it? Right? Escaping is not what Krishna is speaking in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun wants to escape. He wants to go to the Himalayas and not fight the war. And Krishna says, hey, stand back and fight. And he tells him, hey, you know what? If you, you know, kill them, you're not killing them. It's the body. The soul always lives on. So Krishna also gives very similar kind of thing. So what is the worst that can happen? Is there a way to prevent it? And has anyone else figured out a remedy, right? Because any situation you're in, there is somebody, even one has cancer. Generally people go into certain groups and find out if anybody else has gone through the same problem and come out victorious, come out with a solution. Yes, no, maybe. And when you go through this exercise, what you will notice is it will answer a lot of your questions. For example, pick up the phone and talk to somebody you trust, somebody who might have a remedy for you. That's where mentors, gurus come in, right? Somebody who you trust, somebody who can tell you, hey, here is a way to figure it out. What might be the benefit of the next thing you need to think about is the upside. So what might be the benefit of an attempt? Okay, it's fearful to do. Some of you wrote down anonymously that marriage is fearful, fearful of being with another person. So what if it turns out that being with another person can be even partially successful, happy, right? What if, right? So what if the brain is thinking that what if bad things happen? Now, what I want you to think about it is, what if an attempt, a good thing might happen, right? And if you don't do anything about this fear, you don't take action, you don't do anything, what cost would inaction or not taking any action have on you emotionally, physically, and financially? Let's say you want to start a startup, right? And you didn't do that, right? You have the dream, but you're happy with your job. You're like, not happy, not too sad. It's okay. But you have a dream and you're not pursuing it. Cost of inaction. How would it make you feel in 6 months? How would it make you feel in 1 year? How would you make it feel in 3 years? You cannot think beyond that because, but think about it. And that will inspire you to maybe take a little risk, maybe take a little stab at that fear and overcome it. Some of you asked to talk about myself in that situation. So in 2009, when I graduated from college, all of you know the entire global economy had tanked. And there was difficulties. People, in my case, those are investors who promised investment, didn't, backed off. And there is a Huffington Post article at that time that came out about me and my co-founder, saying that despite economy, college grads set to launch innovative product. We didn't take no for an answer. It was fearful. Nobody was investing. Everybody who started a startup with us backed off, got a job, or couldn't even find a job. Me and my co-founder, we got some money, like you saw the initial slides, winning competitions in US and Canada. We had some money, but eventually building a hardware product, we ran out of money. We were 1 month away from being homeless. In fact, Edward and I were selling cheese biscuits on the streets of Chicago, literally on the street. We were on Saturdays, I would bake cheese biscuits, and Sunday he and I would set up a table on the pavement and sell cheese biscuits. Being engineers from one of the best colleges in the country, we were doing this. And with that money, we were surviving Monday to Friday and fueling our tech startup, right? It was a very, very fearful situation. You won't believe me. Every day was difficult. Every day was fearful. What will happen? Will we get investment? All this time we put into our startup, will it ever see the light of day? Eventually we did. We became successful. We got funding. We were entrepreneur idols. Like in India, we have Indian Idol for music. In the US, is Entrepreneur Idol for entrepreneurship. And we won in the entire nation, #1 entrepreneurs, right? We were interviewed by CNN, from ABC7, Huffington Post, all the top news media, right? When success has 1,000 fathers, right? So difficult part, the fear part, we went through. And there was that same process we went through. Krishna, faith in Krishna, confidence in Krishna, and my mentor guided me through. No, don't give up, don't quit. Because when you're 40 years old, you'll have a hollowness in your heart that I could have done something great with my life. I didn't do it. I backed off. So keep trying, keep trying. Krishna will help you. And me and my co-founder, we both went all out. We chanted Hare Krishna and we kept on going with our dream. And we survived the recession. We built a multi-million-dollar company, and the rest is history, right? Easy choices, hard life. The startups that quit at that time have still not been able to build a startup, and they are much smarter than me, PhDs, and they're amazing people, but they gave up, they quit, right? So easy choices lead to a hard life. What is the hard? I'm not saying if you don't do startup, your life is hard, but not living your dream is a hard life. And hard choices lead to an easier life. Life is never easy. Life is hard. But easier life, when you're enjoying what you love to do, when you're fulfilling your dream, when you're making other people's lives better, when you are, contributing to society, that's an easier life. Even with all the difficulties, it's worth it because it means something to you, right? So easier choices, everybody does it. What's the big deal, right? Hard life. You live like everybody else. You get bored. You're like, what is this life all about? And then you look at other people. Oh, that person is so lucky. It's not luck. They made some hard choices early on, and that's why they have a little easier life. And here in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So the mind will tell you, oh, what if you fail? What if they laugh at you? Fear of rejection. Many of you mentioned fear of rejection, right? So here is the deal. What if people laugh at you? Guess what? They're going to forget about it after 5 minutes, after 5 days. If you fail, people will, told you, you couldn't be Ambani. Look at you. Sure. So what? Moving on with life, right? If people have their priorities. We think we are the priority of everybody else's life. Not true. People have their problems, their family, their breakups, their relationship issues, their financial issues, their health issues. They have their priorities. They're not thinking about you. They're going to laugh about you and they're going to forget about you. And when you become successful, guess what they're going to say? Oh, I knew this guy when he was struggling along. And that's, again, a case in my case. So when we were struggling with selling cheese biscuits, I remember when we were winning competitions as student entrepreneurs, everybody was like, Avelo Roy, big thing. Obama was pushing us. And, we were like star entrepreneurs. And during those 1 year, almost 1 year of recession that we went through, everybody thought we won't survive. We won't make it. And I would go to networking events and people would look away from me like I don't exist, right? I was like, this is the same people who were appreciating so much and now they don't feel like they should even smile or greet me. Wow, people do change. And once we got our funding and we became successful, those same people shamelessly would come and shake hands. Congratulations, so proud of you. We knew it, you could make it. Sure, right? That's a reality. That's a reality of life. So don't be swayed by people, right? In Bengali, we say, loke ki bolbe. In Hindi, we say, log kya kahenge. So these log, they're there to always, clap when you're successful, after you're successful, and they're there to laugh at you when you're struggling. But they don't matter. Their rejections don't matter. Their appreciation also doesn't matter. On social media, if some of you are on social media, you'll find a lot of people liking, sharing, saying nice things to you. Tomorrow you make a mistake, and the same people will be like, oh, shame on you. So they'll unfriend you and all of that. Doesn't matter. They don't matter. What matters is, are you happy with your choices? Are you happy by facing your fears, destroying your fears, and achieving what you want to achieve? That's important, right? These log kya kahenge people, log will be there. They don't matter. What matters is you. And if you're happy, and if you're happy in your relationship with Krishna, nothing better than that, right? Because we are in a devotional setting, that matters. So to have control over our mind, we need to know how to. And that's, again, the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6. Krishna speaks greatly about the mind and the mind control. And every Friday, we study the Bhagavad Gita together, all of us. entrepreneurs and professors and doctors and others, right? And we are in chapter 6 right now in that zone. So everything needs control, right? The car needs a control, a dog needs to be controlled, a video game needs to be controlled. So mind also needs a control. A controller is required, right? Now let's understand the mind. First, this is who we think we are, right? Bhagavad Gita is described as earth, water, fire, air, ether. That's what the human body is made up of. And then there's another body, which is made up of the mind, intelligence, and false ego. So earth, we have all the earthly metallic, we have iron, we have calcium, we have carbon, our body is made up of earth stuff. We have 70% of the body is water, air, we're breathing in, breathing out. There's fire, there's temperature in the body, right? 90 something, 95 point something Fahrenheit. 96 point something Fahrenheit, right? So there's fire in the body, there's ether, there's space, intermolecular space, etc. And there's mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? That's a subtle body. So mind is where the desires are hidden. Mind is where we are like, I wish this, I wish that. And the mind is what distracts us. When we get what we wanted, then mind suddenly says, I don't like it. Somebody else has something. I like that. That's better than yours. And there's this comparison, and they're constantly in trouble because the mind just does not believe in giving us peace. So we need to control this mind, right? So again, another way of depicting it, there's the body, the physical body that we have made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then there's the ego, the mind, the intelligence, and at the core is who you are, the soul. The soul is embodied within this body. Think about the Transformers, right? Sitting inside this like robot. So it's like the soul is sitting inside and moving this body. Soul is desiring, hey hand, move and get me that water. Or hey legs, get up and move and let's go for a walk. So you are desiring everything as soul, and the body is making it happen, right? The intelligence is figuring it out, how to make it happen. The mind is where the desire is happening, right? Accept, reject, accept, reject. I like this, I don't like this, right? Constantly changing. And the ego is a sense of identity. I am. When you don't have intelligence, when you don't have knowledge, you think I am this body. This body dies, I die. I stop existing. When you have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, you know soul moves on. The body dies, right? So that's basic understanding of body, mind, soul, etc. Now, coming to control, the first thing when you are going through anxiety, fear, depression is hit the pause button. Stop all the thoughts. Just pause for a second. Breathe in, breathe out, pause for a second. Think, what knowledge can I access that will help me at this moment? The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is where I go to, and I would suggest you go as well. And according to the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives a very beautiful example that you see the 5 horses, they are representing the 5 senses: eyes, nose, tongue, skin, etc., right? Ears. And the horses are controlled by this person in the blue dress, which is the charioteer. That's the intelligence. And the reins of the horses, the ropes, that's the mind. And the person in the back who's scared, that's the soul, that's you. And the chariot is the body. The wheels, day and night. It's moving 24 hours, right? Moving towards death. Hopefully that helps you. So senses. So there's a hierarchy. There's a senses controlled by the mind. The mind is controlled by the intelligence. And the intelligence is controlled by the soul, backed by knowledge. So the mind and the intelligence, difference between the two. Mind is looking down, it desires. It would be nice to jump from here. Wonder what it's like to fly. Intelligence, backed by knowledge, is going to say, it will hurt you, it might kill you, don't do it. Why? because intelligence is binary. Intelligence is figuring out, it's discerning capability. So mind desires doesn't care if it's possible or not. Intelligence will tell you, oh, you have money for this, you don't have money for this. If the ability for it, it's harmful, it's less harmful, etc., etc. Intelligence will give you the reasons, the reasoning faculty, right? And intelligence is sourced or fueled by knowledge. There are things you know, like don't touch fire. It's hot, it will burn you. You know, there's knowledge about it. There are things you don't know, like that white powder. What happens when you snort it? You see it in the movies, maybe friends are doing it. What happens? I don't know. Let me try it. Oh, I got a high. That felt good. And then there's a crash. Oh, it's supposed to be not good for you. Now you're addicted, etc., right? So the point is, there are things we know, there are things we don't know. When we don't know, we see others and try to figure out, okay, they are doing it, so it must be good. I should also do it. But the important thing is to get guided by scriptures, by Shastra, by Bhagavad Gita specifically. And to be in that ability to control the mind, there are certain tools given by the Vedic wisdom. And one such tool is called mantra. Manaha trayate iti mantra. Mantra. That's how the Sanskrit is divided, which means to release the mind. Manaha trayate iti mantra. So that which relieves the mind is called mantra. And there are many mantras, millions and millions of mantras. So what it does, cleanses the mind, just like we take a shower every day. So mantra meditation or chanting of mantras cleanses your mind, cleans it from anxiety, stress, depression, and all these other things. So if you go to temples, there's always mantras being chanted. It's supposed to cleanse our mind. We come back from the temple, we feel refreshed. Just like coming out of a gym, you feel rejuvenated. Same way, coming out of a temple with all the mantras and chanting. And it doesn't have to be temple. It can be your house. It can be your headphones, right? So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Krita Dhyato Vishnu. In the Satya Yoga, Krita Yoga, Satya Yoga, Dhyato Vishnu. Meditating on Vishnu for centuries and thousands of years. They had longer lifespans, so they could do that. That was the perfection of that age. Treta Yajato Makhay. In Treta Yoga, it was performing fire sacrifice. So great Ashwamed Yagya, Gomed Yagya, great Yagyas. If you read the scriptures, talk about great fire sacrifices. We don't have the money to do that. So much ghee, so much Brahmanas at that time could light fire with the vibration of the mantra. Kali Yuga, that's not possible. So not recommended. Dwapar Parichayaram. So in Dwapar Yuga, big temples were created. So temple worship was established in Dwapar Yuga, right? And Kalautad Hari Kirtana. In Kali Yuga, chanting of the holy name of God, right? And it's not just our religion, and all religions. In Christianity, they chant Hail Mary, Mother of God, or they chant praises of Jesus Christ. In Islam, there's Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar means Almighty is great, right? And in our tradition, in Hindu tradition, there's Vishnu Shastranam, there's all kinds of Gayatri mantra, there is different Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, etc. But the mantra that is recommended for Kali Yuga and the most powerful of all these mantras is called the Maha Mantra, is the Hare Krishna Maha. In Kali Santarana Upanishad, which is meant for Kali Yuga, it is being spoken that after searching through all the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than chanting of Hare Krishna. This age, meaning in Kali Yuga, people live short lives. We hardly live 60, 70 years, maybe at max 80 years, right? Hardly 100 years. Back in the days, it used to be much more. We don't have too much patience. We want everything instantly. App for food, app for massage, app for cab, app for this, app for that. So it's some instant. That's we want instant gratification. We cannot be meditating on Vishnu for thousands of years. Not our cup of tea. And we are not prescribed to do that either. So in this specific age of Kali Yuga, when we have short lives, short attention span, very little time, it is being said that the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the best possible resource, and the most sublime, the easiest possible way to attain the same thing, Kalotad Hari Kirtanat, of attaining the perfection that in the previous ages they got through temple worship or fire yagya or meditation for thousands of years. The same thing can be attained through chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, confidence. We'll talk a little bit about confidence. Where does confidence come from? So I told you a few things today. You're going to hopefully apply these, and your fear hopefully will be shattered, and you will be able to take action. But again, those actions are fearful action. Like what if? You will be a little worried, little cautious, and that is healthy to a certain extent. But confidence does not come from day one. I'm an introvert still. And when I started speaking, when I started public speaking, or today I have done more than 500 speaking engagements, stopped counting, in fact. But there was a time I couldn't even talk to my roommate. When I was studying in college, it took me a lot of effort to speak up. What to speak of public speaking? It was not even a thought. But as I started doing it, pitching to investors for my startup, it was a survival thing. I had to do it to survive, to make my startup viable. I had a gun to my head, right? And eventually that became easier. And as we started winning competitions, winning prize money, getting investors to take us to the next level, confidence came, right? So confidence comes from consistent progress. That's something we have to understand. We cannot force confidence on ourselves. Confidence comes with progress, consistent progress. As you see, oh, I'm making progress. Oh, this is actually working out. Oh, Bhagavad Gita's words actually work. You will get confidence in yourself and confidence in Krishna. And this progress is fueled by enthusiasm and faith, according to Bhakti Rasamrita Siddhu, right? So enthusiastically working. So you see a little progress, like, wow, this is working. You keep going and you keep going, and there's enthusiasm. You fail, but you get up and you keep walking. And in that process, you see that there's little progress happening. You are getting some little bit of indication that this is working, and faith develops. So same way as you progress in your spiritual life, as you see the Bhagavad Gita applied in real life, how that's making you happier, how that's making you fearless, how that's boosting, everything, all relationships in your life, faith develops, right? And more faith leads to more progress, because now you can apply more with confidence and you take bigger steps, and it's a snowball effect, right? I'll explain this a little bit better with another diagram. So here, this diagram should help you, right? The belief system. So initially you're like, I don't know if I can do it, if it's in me. You don't know what is your potential. You take some action, results are not very good, right? And you're like, nah. So you take a gym membership, right? New Year's resolution in January. And you're like, okay, I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to build some muscles. And you're not sure if that will happen. You don't know your potentials. You take small action. After going for 2-3 weeks, you don't see too much result. You look in the mirror, I'm the same old me. And you're like, mere se nahi hoga, won't happen with me. So you give up, right? Another thing is, your belief is, Krishna says, I am the seed-giving father. I am your father. You have everything I have as inheritance. So your potential is unlimited potential, because your belief system is, my father is Krishna. You take massive action. Unthinkable. Most people laugh at you, ha ha ha, you're crazy to do that, right? Whenever you do something great, people will say, you're crazy to do that. And the results, even if you're partially successful, are beyond belief, because you took massive action. Even partial success, people are like, whoa, that's amazing. And your belief system is, it works. Krishna is helping me. I have nothing to stop me. You think your potential is unlimited, you take more massive actions, you get massive results. Your belief system grows in yourself and believe in Krishna, confidence in Krishna, and you take more action and more results. And this is a snowball effect, and it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. And you, before you know, you have become somebody who's an inspiration to others, where people look up to you and say, wow, if you can do it, I can do it too. And what is your secret? And you say, my secret is my faith in God. And my secret is my consistent progress and consistently taking action. And thereby I see results. And people are saying, wow, I want to be like you. And society changes, nation changes, the world changes, because you made some change in your life, right? So such a personality is Srila Prabhupada, somebody who I and look up to very much, and he's my inspiration. Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And when he was 20-something-year-old, he met his guru, and his guru told him, you speak English, you should go to the Western world and preach this message of Bhagavad Gita to the Westerners and make them happy, give them access to Vedic happiness, Vedic wisdom. And he said, me? Going to the West? How can I do that? But because his guru said it, he took it as his life's mission. And for the next 50 years, he kept on preparing himself, studying the scriptures and preparing himself that one day I'll go to the West. And he kept on looking for opportunities, and he kept on getting rejected. For 50 years, he got rejection after rejection after rejection. No one wanted to help him until one old lady who owned Scindia Shipping Company, she said, okay, Swamiji, I'll give you a free ticket to America. But you're old man, you're 70 years old, you'll die. He said, doesn't matter. I might as well die fulfilling my mission, than die in Vrindavan as another old sadhu. And she said, fine. He went to America. For the first 1 year, no one changed, no one moved. He was not able to, make any devotees. But after 1 year, consistent action, faith in Krishna. Every day he would go to the shipping company and see if he should take a return ticket to India. And every day he would come back, no, let me try one more day. Let me try one more day. And eventually, so many people started appreciating what he was doing. He had confidence in Krishna. And the last 14 years of his life, he spread this Krishna consciousness movement in 108 countries around the world, going around the world 14 times, not in a ship, but in an aircraft. Now he had people, now he could do this. Initiated 10,000 disciples around the world, established 100 plus temples, colleges, hospitals, right? And today that has become 600 plus temples. More than 500 million Bhagavad Gitas have been distributed around the world. And it was all because Srila Prabhupada didn't give up. He was fearful. He had a strong Bengali accent. And he said, how will these people understand my language? How will they understand bhakti? They are in a whole different world. They're in a whole different mindset. But because my guru has told me, let me try. Let me just do what my guru has told me. Let me do my part and let Krishna do his part. And he did his part, and Krishna really did his part. Prabhupada actually went to America with 40 rupees. And his son actually said even 40 rupees he gave to his son when he boarded the ship, Jaladuta. He said, what will I do with rupees? In dollars, I don't have any dollars. So might as well go empty-handed. So he went empty-handed to America. By the time Srila Prabhupada left this planet, 1977, November, there were $400 million worth of temples around the world, 10,000 disciples, Westerners, and that time India was still very much like, oh, everything Western is good, everything Indian is bad, right? And they were saying, whoa, these Westerners have come to India, chanting Hare Krishna with tilak, with dhoti, with kurta. What is going on? They are becoming like us, and we are trying to become like them. Wow, what a difference. And what a difference it has made in today's world, right? So that's what confidence in Krishna can do. But how can you be confident on someone you don't know or how they operate, right? How can you have confidence in Krishna unless you know who Krishna is? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the Supreme Controller. And in the Bhagavad Gita, he's very kind in talking about himself. You see how he's dealing with his friend, how he's encouraging his best friend Arjun to fight the war on the battlefield. And for us, the same words apply to fight the war of our lives, to fight the war of fulfilling our ambition, to make our family happy, our parents happy, our community a better community. So I invite you to, if you're interested, if Bhagavad Gita is interesting, if what you've heard today in this masterclass is interesting to you, join us every Friday at 7:30 p.m. We study the Bhagavad Gita verse by verse, chapter by chapter, in a very systematic way, in a very practical way. You can WhatsApp this number if you want to join, and we'll be very honored to take you through the journey of spiritual wisdom, learning from Krishna on how to be happy, how to overcome fear, how to overcome stress, how to help. Once we have become fearless, once we have become happy, it's our duty to help others also go through that. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. When I was going through my initial startup days, my initial college days, the difficulties I went through, my parents got separated. I went through financial crisis. I went through raising money for my startup, and nothing was working out. All of those things, Bhagavad Gita and my mentor, that's what helped me. And I promised to myself, if someday I come out of this successfully, I will dedicate my life to sharing this knowledge with all those who might benefit from it. And that's what I'm doing here. And that's why I'm inviting you. Let's study the Gita together. It's absolutely free. It's open. You're welcome to join. On Fridays, it's online, so you can join from wherever you want. You're also welcome to connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. If you have any personal questions you want to ask me beyond today, right now, you can ask all your questions in the chat section. You can start asking now. If you feel uncomfortable, you can also ask me on social media. You can easily find me on Instagram or LinkedIn, searching Avelo Roy. I'm the only person with this name in this entire world. There's also videos on spirituality and Bhagavad Gita on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Avelo Roy. So you can go watch them. Very short videos, 5 to 7 minutes long. And they're all nuggets of spiritual wisdom that I've learned from my life and from my mentors. That's it. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask. Okay. Sarthak Varnekar, Prabhuji, how to overcome social anxiety and be confident. So social anxiety comes from, again, the thought of what if, right? What if they think I'm not good enough? What if I speak something and they laugh at me? So all of that. And just like I helped you walk through those situations, let me just quickly go through that exercise again. So in your mind, it will take you 1 or 2 minutes to go through the exercise that I taught you. What is the worst that can happen? In social anxiety, right? You're in a place, you're talking to people. Hey, my name is so-and-so. What's your name? What's the worst that can happen? They'll look away and walk away from you. Is that so bad? Find another person and shake their hand, right? Is there a way to prevent it? Yes, smile, be well-dressed, has anybody else figured it out? Somebody talking to you. I had social anxiety. I still am an introvert, right? But I've learned to not be that and grow above that anxiety, that introvertedness, and go out and meet people and come out of my comfort zone. What's the benefit of it? What if you succeed? You make new friends. You know people who can open up doors for you, new opportunities. You never know what can happen when you meet people, when you get out of social anxiety. What if you don't do anything about it? After 20 years also, you're socially anxious. Guess what? You will not be able to mingle with people. Your network is your net worth. You have potential, but you will not reach potentially that level. Financially, you will not see progress in your work. You will not get the promotion you deserve. There's a lot of different things that won't happen. Is it worth it? Or is it worth, going through that and conquering your fear, right? Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. I hope that helps, Sarthak. Pinky is asking, how does the God protect the people who are doing good things and bad things? So it's not about good things and bad things. So those who are not inviting God in the picture, like I said, they are in the realm of automated karma. You do good things happen. You do bad things happen, right? It's karma. If you're in a good situation because something you did good in the past, you went to the gym, you have good body, good physique, you studied well, you have a good degree, etc. You didn't do something good in this life or past life, and there are certain things, disease, death, whatever else, right? Now, God interferes when you invite him. When you invite him through prayer, through chanting, through mantra, when you invite him, I need your help, only then Krishna interferes. Otherwise, he does not tinker with anybody's choice or free will. You are in your own world and you do your own thing. What you deserve is what you will get. But when you invite God in the picture, only then he takes charge as a father, protection, and all of that. He takes care because you have asked him, my dear Krishna, please help me. Draupadi, just to give an example, Pinky, since you're a woman, you will appreciate this. She is a queen. And one of the strongest people in that place was trying to strip her naked. He was pulling her sari, and she, being a Kshatrani, a strong woman, was holding onto her sari with two hands. She couldn't. He was overpowering her. Then with one hand, she was holding onto a sari, and with teeth, she was holding onto a sari. Then she still couldn't. And then she realized, and she just completely surrendered. Krishna, Govinda, please help. Come and help me. I don't think I can protect myself in this situation. So as soon as she called, Krishna was present. Now, you might say, oh, that was Draupadi, her case. I can bet you, many people here who are in our Philosophy Friday, who are studying the Bhagavad Gita, following devotional life, can attest that this has happened in their lives too. And they have been protected. They have gone through amazingly difficult situations, and they have felt Krishna's presence in their life and beautifully come out of it victorious, right? That's actually the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, that wherever there's Krishna and Arjun, there is victory, morality, and all opulence. That means wherever the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna and Arjun, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, that's going to be victory, morality, and all opulence. I hope that helps you, Pinky, answer your question. Vasudha, sir, do Bhagavad Gita will transform us? How to start reading Bhagavad Gita initially? So like I said, you're welcome to join the Philosophy Friday, where we study together. It's best to study with somebody who guides you through the Bhagavad Gita, because on our own, we might not fully appreciate the verses. There is vedabase.io, where you can get access to Bhagavad Gita freely online. I'll type the website, vedabase.io, right? You can go there and you can read the Bhagavad Gita, but it always helps to know somebody who helps you understand the Bhagavad Gita in your context, where you can ask questions and get the answers and really understand the sum and substance of the Bhagavad Gita. That's why I'm inviting you, come to Philosophy Friday and we'll study together. Shreya, Hare Krishna Prabhu, most thoughts passed through are negative and about failures. How do we minimize such thoughts and always be in positive frame of mind? Shreya, you can never be always in positive frame of mind. That's not human. Human nature dictates that there will be ups, there will be downs, right? Even after understanding the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun went into depression when his son died. It is only natural, but he very quickly came out of it. Krishna helped him out. So the point is, you can never be always positive. There will be difficulties, there will be problems. The point is to have association of positive people. Association means somebody who has influence in your life. So when you pick up the phone and call such a person, they inspire you and pull you out of that negative situation. Many people do that to me. Just today only, somebody in Michigan, one of my mentees, he called me that somebody, in the middle of the night, a mirror fell on him and he was bleeding from all over. And he was like, I'm very scared. I don't know if it's a paranormal activity or black magic or whatever. And I just sent him some Narsinghadev shloka. We spoke over the phone and I feel so happy. I feel inspired. Thank you, Prabhu. Right? All it took was 5 minutes of my time. And he was in a very scared, fearful situation, negative thought. he was transposed to positivity. So the point is, have association of people who you trust, who can inspire you and pull you out of that negative atmosphere. And you will see who you associate with is what you get. If you watch too many horror movies, you will always be like, there's ghosts everywhere, right? If you watch too many news channels, you'll always feel the whole world is collapsing tomorrow itself. So that's the association you're getting, right? So it's important you get positive association that will lead to positive thoughts and positive life. Pradipto. Sir, in a situation where I don't know what's going to happen next, and anxiety kicks in, then even if I try to stay calm, it's really difficult, mostly because of the really fast heart rate. So how to overcome this problem? And that is why it's important to know that there is somebody who's always there with you, and that is your father, Krishna. That is why, even scientifically speaking, it is proven that atheist versus theist, those who are theistic, those who have faith in God or something higher, they are happier and more secure and more confident, because there is always that, I'll tell you, Pradipto, since you know me and you are a mentee, I was in a blockchain conference when the crypto revolution was happening in 2017. I was invited. I told them I don't want to talk about blockchain, cryptocurrency. It's not my area of expertise. Entrepreneurship is. So they said, I spoke on entrepreneurship. They said, no, you should also talk about blockchain. When I got on stage, there were other speakers, and they were all PhDs from US, from UK, from Switzerland, 1,500 audience. I was like, Krishna, this is utter embarrassment. I won't be able to speak anything of value. These guys are all experts, and what am I, a fool? And I was feeling, my heartbeat, as you say, was racing. But I was in a conversation with Krishna, and I prayed. I said, my dear Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, you say, Matta smriti jnana apohanam cha. From you, all knowledge, memory, and forgetfulness comes. So if you so desire, give me the knowledge, something I can speak that the audience can appreciate. Turns out, all these people were speaking, PhDs, speaking such hi-fi stuff that the common people in the audience could not understand. What I spoke, because I am not so intelligent, I spoke in a very dumb, friendly way, the basics of blockchain. And people appreciated, they clapped. When I came down, there was a crowd of people around me wanting my business card, not around the PhDs. The point is, I had a hack, my father, Krishna. So you have access to that hack. That's why all these amazing CEOs like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg, they have a very strong spiritual life secretly. Every CEO I meet, I give a Bhagavad Gita. They're like, oh, I already have read the Bhagavad Gita. It's a powerful book, but this will also help me. But the point is, there's a reason why CEOs read the Bhagavad Gita, because there is something extra that we have access to that, unfortunately, the British have brainwashed us and told us everything we have is bad, everything the Western world is good. And we still believe that after generations. That's not true. So have a relationship with Krishna, and you will see that relationship will empower you whenever you feel down. He's always there as Paramatma in the heart, right there with you, no matter where you are, right? So I might not be there, your parents might not be there, but Krishna is there with you. So anytime you pray, he is there present, and he'll empower you. Try it and tell me how it works for you. Anant, Hare Krishna, Danod Pranam. I just want to know the near-death experience you experience. It's okay to share, please share. Sure. I had asthma growing up as a kid, and sometimes my asthma attacks would be way too much, where I could not breathe. And one time it was getting dark. My parents were looking at me helplessly, and I was kind of almost going into a coma, where I felt that fear as a child. Oh my God, where am I going? My parents won't be there. What is death like? And it was a very, very scary situation. But yeah, that was that experience. Vishal Hande, vedabase.io. Yeah, thank you. How can we overcome fear about disease? Overcome fear about anything. Again, like I said, the root cause of fear is ignorance, and knowledge and connection with Krishna is what's going to help you overcome it. Again, give you example. So my knowledge from Bhagavad Gita about disease is any disease, whether it's bacteria or virus, right? Even they're living entities. That means they have Paramatma within them. So I remember I came to India for some work, and then I went to Hong Kong for another work. And as soon as I reached Hong Kong, my mother called me that my grandmother is in ICU. My grandmother was somebody I loved more than anyone, and I was like, oh my God, ICU. And my mother's like, doctor's saying she won't survive. And the knowledge that I had from Bhagavad Gita was that Krishna is in every living entity as Paramatma. So I prayed. I prayed to Krishna. I said, my dear Krishna, you are inside those bacteria and viruses that are causing this disease in my grandmother's body. Can you please inspire these living entities to leave the body of my grandmother and heal her? You won't believe me. The next call I got, my mother's like, I'm discharging your grandmother. She's doing much better. And of course, it's not like it always works. But for me, that was such a faith builder, because from knowledge I had that Bhagavad Gita says that all living entities, including bacteria and viruses, they have super soul within. Paramatma is there. And I prayed to Paramatma to guide them out of my grandmother's body. And she was healed immediately, almost immediately, and lived a very happy life almost 10, 15 years after that, right? Although doctors said she would die. So the point is that, right? Knowledge, faith, and you can overcome fear. And the fear of death. Why are you scared of disease? Because of fear of death. What if you understand that the same thing, the death that is so fearful, is not so fearful, because you don't die. The soul doesn't die. And death, just like a tiger uses the same teeth, which is death for a deer. But for the tiger cubs, picking up the tiger cub with the same teeth, it's affection. The tiger cub is not scared. So Krishna is saying that time I am, destroyer of everything. I come as death, right? No matter who powerful you are, I come as death. And the same Krishna as death for somebody who's not a devotee versus somebody who's a devotee is very different how that acts. Death is a celebration for a devotee in Krishna consciousness. It's a happy experience of transitioning to the next life. Hopefully that life is spiritual world. And for others, it's a very fearful transition to no matter what, because whatever karma we have done in our life, good or bad, who knows where we are going. So that knowledge hopefully will help us overcome the fear. But knowledge alone isn't enough. Gyan should become Vigyan. Knowledge should become realized knowledge. When you put into practice, knowledge becomes Vigyan. Gyan becomes Vigyan. You're like, this is how it works. So when you practice Bhagavad Gita principles in your life, you see it working in real life, and you're like, this is how it works. And when that aha moment comes, then if this is true, then that must be also true. So that fear of death goes away, because you realize Krishna is there in every single aspect of my life. So why would he leave me at the time of death? He's also going to be there when there's disease, when there's death, when there's difficulties. Krishna is going to help me through, right? I hope that helps, Vishal. Pinky, we have heard people chanting different mantras for others' destruction. Yes. Similar to black magic. Yes. Is there any answer to this kind of stupid things given by Bhagavad Gita? Yes, of course. So there is sattvic people, there's rajasic people, and tamasic people. So sattvic people, mode of goodness, there's mode of passion, and there's mode of ignorance. So sattvic people chant mantras to uplift ourselves and to uplift society. And tamasic people, mode of ignorance people, use certain mantras like tantra mantra, black magic, to hurt themselves and hurt other people. And is there effect? Yes. But generally speaking, it cannot affect you if you are wearing tulsi on your body. That's why you'll see every Vaishnava wear tulsi mala, tulsi beads, because then you don't get affected by such things. And honestly speaking, in Kali Yuga, people are not even powerful to do black magic properly, to even cause proper damage. So yeah, they might cause little damage. Like this Michigan guy I was talking about, he was suspecting that somebody from his family actually was doing black magic. That's why this mirror fell on him and broke, and he was bleeding. But again, because he's a devotee, nothing bad happens, just scratches here and there. So the point is, these things are true, but there aren't true practitioners because even that requires a lot of austerity and tapasya, and people don't have that, right? So people are not very powerful. So demons are also not very powerful in Kali Yuga. So don't worry about it. As long as we have the most powerful person on our chariot, like Arjun had Krishna on his chariot, even though the Pandava Sena was much smaller than the Kaurava Sena, the Pandavas won, right? And Kauravas were completely decimated. So invite Krishna on your chariot. You have nothing to worry about. No black magic, this, that, right? Of course, difficulties will be there. Struggles will be there, but you will come out victorious. You will be strengthened. You'll be powerful in that struggle. You will actually gain from that struggle. You will gain qualities. You'll gain skills. You'll gain confidence by coming victorious of these struggles. That's the power of spirituality. Versus others, when they go through struggle, they give up, they quit, they get depressed, they give up on life, right? It's a difference between the two. Okay, awesome. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you for your questions and thank you for joining. And again, please, if you can, I would love to see you on Fridays at our Philosophy Friday discussion. So I'll just share the number on the screen again. Here is the number. You can WhatsApp this number. And if you're not in Philosophy Friday, please join and let's study the Gita together and make our lives exemplary for others to be inspired by. Thank you very much and Hare Krishna. Have a good night, everyone.